down in Memphis, Tennessee, exactly how they pronounce it down there, Graceland, not Graceland. That's Paul Simon. It's set on 14 acres, and tomorrow I'll be heading down there to participate in the festivities that will honor the music and the memory of Elvis Presley. So if you're down in the area, come on down and say hey.
You're going to get to be in the jungle room?
I think I'm going to be in all the rooms. It's going to be exciting,
That's cool.
I'm not sure if they allow people in his bedroom, though. I think some rooms are off limits. I went there about 6 years ago and had a great time. That's right. We're trying to remember the occasion, why I went down there, and we can't really remember.
The 20th anniversary, was it?
I don't think it was the 20th anniversary because it was also during the fall, because remember I wore wool. Either that or I was really stupid.
You won't be wearing wool tomorrow.
It's like 50% humidity, hot, hazy, and humid down there, but we're looking forward to it. Meanwhile, welcome back to a final half hour of today on this Tuesday morning. I'm Katie Couric, along with Matt Lauer. At the time of his death, when he died right here at Graceland, but for so many, of course, Matt, he remains the king, still #1 in sales, 1 billion records worldwide. At heart, he was just a country boy, but he changed the face of rock and roll, and in the process, he became a legend. He was the bad boy your mom warned you about. All morning, we're going to give you a taste of what life was like for Elvis here at his beloved Graceland, and spend some time looking back at his amazing career. We'll also have more of my exclusive interview with his ex-wife, Priscilla. She met the king when she was just 14 years old. Today, she'll show us one cherished gift that symbolizes Elvis's generosity and his undying love for her. And I'm going to let you ride along on a special tour of Elvis's Memphis. From Sun Studios, where he cut his first record, to the place he lived as a boy when he moved here from Tupelo, Mississippi, when he was just 12 years old. And of course, we could not focus on Elvis without a little music, so we've got a special performance by some of his former band members. They not only play great music, but they have great stories to tell as well. Meanwhile, I've got a little help from my friend this morning. That's right, Al Roker is here in Memphis as well. Hey, Al.
Hey, Katie, how you doing? We're over here near the band, and we've got a lot of friends here who've gotten here since 3 this morning. They've been coming in here. This is part of a vigil for them that they wouldn't want to miss. And we are not only going to get to talk to them, we're going to see Elvis's car collection and see his plane, the Lisa Marie. So we've got a full morning, Katie.
All right, thank you so much, Al. And of course, some of the rooms inside Graceland are not to be believed. We're going to give you a house tour, if you will. We're going to have an awful lot of fun here today, Matt, but so you're not jealous, don't worry. We're going to bring you back a white jumpsuit.
Another one. That's great, Katie. Thank you very much. Also, we have a happy ending to tell you about this.
Over to Matt.
All right, Campbell, thank you very much. All morning, we are celebrating the legacy of Elvis Presley. Let's send it down to Memphis, our own hunk of burning love, Al Roker, for a check of the weather. Al?
All right, well, Matt, the rain just opened up. But it's okay. These people would, you all put up with a lot more than this, right? They're all here. How many times did you see Elvis?
81 times.
81 times. All right. There you go. Let's check your weather. We already know what it's doing down here in Memphis.
Graceland and Katie.
All right, Matt, thank you very much, and welcome back to Graceland, everybody. I'm standing here in Elvis's living room. After he died in 1977, there were some serious financial problems keeping Graceland afloat, but his ex-wife, Priscilla Presley, decided to open it up to tourists in 1982. So she came here, and she saw that, unfortunately, Elvis had changed the decor quite dramatically during the last years of his life. There was red shag carpeting, red velvet sofas, red satin drapes. She said it looked like Mae West boudoir. So she decided to return it to the way it looked in the late 60s and early 70s. And as you can see, that means a lot of blue and white, predominantly white. Now, behind these stained glass windows is the piano that was here when Elvis died. He apparently rotated a variety of pianos throughout the house during his 20 years he lived here. So sorry, I just had to do that. I mean, how many people can play Elvis's piano? Meanwhile, nothing says Elvis like Graceland. And believe it or not, 25 years after his death, Elvis is still the king in more ways than one. Now, 25 years after his death, Elvis Presley presides posthumously over an empire far larger than the one he possessed while alive. A reported $35 million a year in revenues.
Thank you. You all enjoy your tour.
From tours of Graceland, music publishing, licensing, and all that merchandising. But by far, the crown jewel in the empire is Graceland.
I want to welcome you out here to Elvis Presley's Graceland.
Presley's 14-acre estate in Memphis has become the second most visited home in the United States. Only the White House draws more. 700,000 visitors a year stream through the doors of Graceland, but such success wasn't always a foregone conclusion. In fact, when Presley's executors opened the gates of Graceland to the public 20 years ago, it was simply a matter of financial necessity, and it was anyone's guess how it would work out.
There were no useful market studies or feasibility studies that could even come close to guessing whether we were going to have 30 visitors, 300, 3,000. Fortunately, it was 3,000 people a day.
And that number has stayed steady since the day it opened.
He is this quintessential American success story.
Love me.
A story that often begins and ends with Graceland itself, a place Presley clearly loved.
I'm going to keep Graceland as long as I possibly can.
It's this affection that helps keep fans coming back year after year.
Since we no longer have Elvis to hold on to, since we know that he cherished Graceland, you're touching a piece of him, a piece of something that he loved.
Since his death in 1977, Presley's empire has expanded tremendously. It now includes restaurants, an appropriately named hotel, numerous gift shops, an auto museum, even a wedding chapel. Elvis Presley Enterprises, which has ironclad control over Presley's estate, has overseen this expansion. Its mission, a simple one:
to preserve, protect, and enhance the legacy of Elvis Presley. There's no doubt. I mean, this is a business, and we've got bills to pay, and we try to do the things we do profitably, and I suppose that's no different than any entertainer.
I'm all shook up.
But as any true Elvis fan will tell you, the King was and always will be more than just another entertainer.
He just had something that no other entertainer has ever had. There's only been one superstar, and that's Elvis Presley.
I'm all shook up.
Dave Marsh is a rock historian and critic. Nice to see you, Dave.
Nice
How
to
are
be
you?
here.
Isn't this exciting?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
This is Graceland, you know.
I know that you say that Elvis is really the quintessential rags to riches story. I mean, he came from pretty deep poverty in Tupelo and then later in Memphis.
Oh yeah, I mean it was a housing project here in Memphis when I think they were still living in the housing project when he first recorded his son.
And yet I know that despite his situation, he was not a particularly ambitious young man. Sometimes poverty inspires people, you know, to pull themselves out of it. But he didn't have any strong ambitions, did he?
Well, I don't think that's quite right. I mean, I don't think he wanted to be an astronomer or a business executive, but I think he wanted to be a singer, all right.
Yeah.
I mean,
when did he decide and discover that he had a special gift, a special talent, and he wanted to share it with the world?
Well, you know, he did win the Mississippi State Fair amateur singing contest as a boy, singing, I think, Old Shep, or one of those songs about a dead dog.
Right.
And,
yes, that's true. I think,
and-
wasn't that his high school talent show?
No, that was way earlier than that. He was like 12.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I don't know, I think he did sing in the talent show, but you know, everybody talks about him and went to high school with him, all talk about how he had really made himself distinctive looking, and you know, people talk about him hanging out in clubs and going to late night sings at both black and white Baptist churches and all of that kind of thing.
I know that you say he was such a crucial symbol of integration because he did grow up in segregated Memphis, and he did bridge the gap in some ways in terms of performing music written by African Americans and exposing a mainstream audience to that kind of music.
Yeah, you know, I like Little Richard's image of him as sort of the guy at passport control who let Richard and other black artists through the gate. And Elvis really did serve that purpose. And he was, I think one important thing for people to remember about him is that when he was asked, he always said, these are the rhythm and blues artists who influenced me. This is the church music, black and white, that influenced me. He was very, very clear about where he came from and proud of it.
Meanwhile, African American artists and African Americans in general feel somewhat ambivalent about him, don't they?
Yeah, and with good reason, because, you know, we say, well, Elvis is the king. Well, why isn't James Brown the king? You get into that whole area of discussion, which is really, it's not silly. It's important to everybody to have their own cultural basis. But I was really happy to see this weekend that Chuck D from Public Enemy, who had said that Elvis didn't mean nothing to him in a song in the 80s, came back around and said, well, you know, as a musicologist, I really do understand what he did, and it was really important that it get done because it did start. You know, I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have had Bruce Springsteen on your show 2 weeks ago without Elvis.
Meanwhile, his TV performances were crucial. For example, when he appeared on the Milton Berle show.
Oh, Milton Berle, Steve Allen, and then leading up to the great Ed Sullivan performances, he was really the first person to come out of that Southern culture and use television and the radio to put that culture in everybody's face.
You write, inner Elvis, not unkempt, but unruly, fresh, arrogant, surly, raw, and powerful.
He was beautiful.